Friends, welcome back to Lambs on the Lamb. This is our middle class midlife makeover here in beautiful Costa Rica.
Today, we are diving into something that surprises a lot of expats, what it's like to drive in Costa Rica, especially in our town of San Ramón.
And you can drive in Costa Rica with your American or Canadian or UK driver's license. Just like your tourist visa, which is valid for 180 days, the Costa Rican government has allowed your license to also transfer for that same 180 days. So you don't have to get a special universal driver's license. I've seen things about that. That's not something you need. If your passport is good, your driver's license is good, just make sure it doesn't expire while you're here.
Right.
Driving here is certainly an adventure. Sketchy, I'm sure you've heard lots of stories. We've told you some stories. But you know what? It's not all bad. It's really different. So, just buckle up and let's talk about it.
So let's start with the vibe here in San Ramón. It's not like the capital of San Jose. We don't have like 6-lane highways or heavy traffic jams or anything like that.
What you do have is a ton of one-way streets. So, and they transition. They're not always one way from the beginning to the end. So you'll be driving on the street at some point and there's traffic coming, ahead of you or whatever. And then you go the next block and then everything's all the same way. So you kind of have to pay attention here. Mm-hmm. It's good for you to learn your surroundings and know what streets transition, because the internet here is spotty and your GPS, Waze specifically, won't always be available.
And stop signs may seem like mere suggestions in some areas. And we're not kidding, but you'll see folks that will stop at a stop sign and they're like halfway into the intersection. They're not trying to run the stop sign, but because there are often cars parked on both sides of the streets, they can't see past the cars. So they have to get into the middle of the intersection in order to be able to see that. So that's all they're trying to do. But it can be scary when you see someone not stop at a stop sign and come out right at you.
Right. So the stop signs are fluid environments, right? We're accustomed to, at least I am, red light, stop sign, hard stop, red light, stop sign. That's not the case here. It's more of an ooze. So the folks here, the Ticos here, drive based on rhythm and eye contact, not rigid rules like hard stop. It's polite chaos. Think of organized jazz with Toyotas.
So we want to break down some of the key driving laws that might catch you off guard. Okay, first of all, zero tolerance for alcohol. Costa Rica Transit Law 9078 is what it is. And Costa Rica has a legal blood alcohol limit of 0.05%, 37% lower than most states in the US. But police could fine or arrest you with any sign of impairment. Seatbelts, mandatory for everyone in the car. So when Matt said buckle up, he meant buckle up, not just front seat passengers. Motorcyclists, they are legally allowed to do what's called lane splitting. That means they're weaving between the cars. So they are like driving on the lane lines to get around you. And that is perfectly legal here in the United States. We really frown on that.
So that adds a layer of difficulty to driving, because you're watching behind you as much as you're looking ahead of you anywhere you drive. The motorcycles are allowed to weave in between traffic in any way they see fit, on your right side or your left side. So they're not always going to be coming up on your left side. They're coming from various directions. You have to pay attention all the time in your rearview mirror to make sure you don't kill one of these folks.
Absolutely. And right of way isn't always clear, especially at intersections that don't have good signage. So you'll often kind of negotiate with, a wave or a go ahead kind of gesture, something like that.
And yeah, just like, anywhere that you live, you're going to get ticketed for using your phone while you're driving. The driving here is really, really intense. It's really a two-person job. I watch the road and glance at the GPS. Mary helps me with the GPS and helps me with the intersections, because you can't see around the corner when you're trying to proceed. It's very, very difficult, very, very demanding. And if you take your mind off the road, the task of driving for even a second, you are going to get hurt, or you're going to hurt somebody very, very badly. I almost never see Ticos here on their phones when they're driving. If they are on the phones, it's at a stop sign or a red light, and they're sitting there for a minute. These mountain, curvy, windy roads, you will not survive if you look at your phone for more than a second at any given time while driving.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Costa Rican driving etiquette, some things that you learn by living here. For example, flashing lights from oncoming cars. Yes, that could mean there's a cop ahead, but flashing lights from the cars at an intersection, they're just letting you know that you can go first. They're giving you the right of way. Honking It's not aggressive like it is in New York. It's more like, hey, I'm here, or you go ahead, or thanks. That's what honking is here.
Particularly with motorcycles. When they're passing you on one of two sides randomly, they may beep at you just to let you know that you see them, you hear them, you know that they're there. So you'll hear that a lot. A grim reality here in Costa Rica is that according to the National Road Safety Council here in Costa Rica, pedestrians make up 30% of road fatalities here in Costa Rica. That's a lot. That's just people walking up and down the street in their town that don't go home that night. 52% of fatalities are motorcycles. So you really, really have to think differently about driving here in Costa Rica, because that's 80% of fatalities are people just walking or people on bikes. And that's not the case in the States. Most of us die in our cars in the United States.
Right. So even if the drivers seem chill, you do need to be kind of hyper aware of the pedestrians and those motorcycles, especially in San Ramón, where sidewalks are narrow or non-existent.
Yeah, and so here's something quirky. Roundabouts, and they're not real common in Texas, but there are a few. Down here, they started building them with newer infrastructure. The folks down here really don't know what the heck to do with those. So just got to pay attention and be careful.
So if you're thinking of driving here, these tips can help save you a little bit of stress. Learn basic Spanish terms. Alto means stop. Despacio is slow. Ceda el paso is a yield. Which you will see often on, they have these little one-lane bridges. And so one side will have the Ceda el paso sign, and the other side can just go at will. So there's not usually a ton of traffic, so it doesn't usually take more than a minute or two to get through there, but just be aware of those signs. Because also, Waze is just better in Costa Rica than Google Maps. Locals will use it to avoid traffic, potholes, road closures.
Yeah, all those things. And there's all of those things here. Also, driving here, the topography is, well, very different from where I'm from anyway, in Texas, flat and level. The roads here can be insanely steep, windy, and unpaved roads aren't just out in the country. They're unpaved roads in like the middle of town sometimes where you are.
So that's what it's like driving in San Ramón, equal parts charming and chaotic.
Right. So I say if you can drive in Costa Rica, you can drive anywhere. Just take it slow, get accustomed to it, get comfortable, learn the rhythms, because I don't know how to tango until I hit an intersection. So
please be sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop us a comment if you've had your own wild driving experience, either here or abroad.
And thanks for riding along with the lambs on the lamb.